Sullivan Randy here, back for part 3 of our speaker system here out in the pole barn. And we got some more stuff to hopefully finish completing it. Still waiting on one component here yet, waiting on one more speaker. Buying these speakers kind of used here, so that's probably why. Actually, got 3 used ones and 1 new one. I couldn't get enough used ones to go around here. So for those of you, thank you, bud. For those of you not familiar with the system here we're setting up, we've gone with a Pile 2000 watt amplifier, 2000 watts. We got 4 500 watt speakers, 500 watts supposedly. And then we of course got one more piece of component that I've not showed you folks yet. Although if you watched my amplifier video, you might be able to guess what that component is. Also ran out of wire, so I went ahead and bought another 50 foot of 12 gauge wire. Some real quality wire there, I'm sure. And then we got banana plugs. I didn't realize this, but you kind of almost have to use the banana plugs on the back of these speakers with the connections that they have on them. And then also hopefully got a better, much better FM antenna. Hopefully this will pick up a lot better. I noticed we're going to have to probably strip off the ends on there, but that's fine. That should work. So anyway, let's show you folks what we got in the box here first. And this is of course another speaker here. Interestingly enough, this one came in 1 box. All the other speakers came in 2 boxes. And like I said, it's supposed to be 1 more coming yet, so I ain't short 1 speaker yet. Directions. And some feet for them. So yes, there's the speaker, and like I said, the banana style plugs. For the back here, it doesn't really have the style where you can put the wire onto it. So yeah, that should work quite nicely. Just gotta get the wires installed in these banana plugs. And we'll put the feet on the speaker. In fact, we'll do that here in just a moment. Well, how do you like that, folks? There's only 3 screws. Literally, I dumped it out right here, and there's literally only 3 screws. Okay, I guess they shorted me a screw. Ain't that nice of them? Not a problem though. I don't think this will wreck the speaker if I go a little bit longer screw. I hope. Shortest screw I got in there, so. Actually, if I put it there, that's not going to be good. Because that will go all the way through unless I go, yeah, okay. If I go right there, it should be good. Okay, there we go. Must be what happens when you buy cheap speakers. They short you a screw for the feet. And okay then, folks, of course, the core component of any speaker system. Of course. Okay, folks, there we go. Got it out of the box. Of course, a 475 watt 12-inch subwoofer, front firing, powered subwoofer. Not much else to say about this other than it was kind of pretty much one of the cheapest ones I could find. Actually, supposedly has really good reviews, so we'll find out if it sounds as good as what people says it does or not. Again, especially out in the barn, it doesn't really matter. Connections on the back will be wondering. So if your amplifier does not have a subwoofer or a dedicated subwoofer out, which the one we have does, so we'll be using that one right there. If it doesn't, you can actually connect it to the receiver through the speaker wires. And again, looks like these are. Oh, you can thread wire into that too, or use the banana plugs from the looks of it. And then of course we have all volume controls and crossover and power auto on, red, standby, okay, sub in, ProLogic. Not sure what kind of receiver we have there. I might have to look at the manual for that. But anyway, folks, let's get this all installed here. I'm not entirely sure where we're going to put the sub yet, and that might actually go up in the other corner here, just to show you folks. That might go up in that corner. That's what I'm thinking anyway, right up there, so it's up out of the way. And of course, there's one of the speakers up there. So anyway, we'll get to work installing this stuff here, probably change out the wire first, and we'll put up the speaker. Okay everyone, we're going to get the third speaker set up here, and like I mentioned, still don't have the fourth speaker yet, waiting on that one. But we'll get the third one set up here, and we got the banana plugs here. So we're going to do the wire here first. And there should be plenty of wire here. Really probably don't need this much, we might pull it back through, we'll see once. Probably didn't need to split it that far. Oh well, we can solve that problem by that. And again, this is 12 gauge wire. I wonder how far we're supposed to split this down. Gotta be real careful with the stripper here. I noticed it will cut the wires if I'm not careful, so. And again, hopefully you folks can see this okay. Oh wow, the wire's so thick you can't even get through there. Well, that's gonna be a problem. Okay, I guess we'll have to strip it a little further. That might be a little bit too far here. Again, these are supposed to be made, I think, for up to 10 gauge wire, and it can't even hold the 12 here hardly. That's a little concerning. Okay, there we go. And we'll just get this right away. Okay, there we go. Banana plugs are all set. Ready to put the speaker up. we'll just leave a little extra wire laying up here. The rest, like I said, we'll just feed it back through there. Sure it's sitting on there nice. That looks like that's pretty good. Sitting on there pretty solid and level too. That's good. I think we're all set here. Okay, next step here, we're going to replace this 16 gauge wire with a 12 gauge wire. Again, the 16 gauge is probably more than adequate for here, but it's not quite long enough. Plus, we'll keep everything the same, so it's all 12 gauge all the way around. Okay, and we'll just do this wire right on the ground here, seeing as how we have access to it. No sense doing that up on the ladder if we don't have to. Double check that. Yep, that is the red wire. Okay. Now I just need to finish routing it up there. And like I mentioned, I just kind of had it jimmy rigged in the, we got a wire, there we go, that wire hanging out there. Jimmy rigged behind here, even though that looks like that's not how they're designed to be used. Oh wait, we need to route it through this one yet. And I'll get some staples to hold the wire up here yet, by the way. Okay, that should be good. And we'll just pull this one back through, and I'll probably throw it back on the roll and save it for something else. Okay, folks, I think we've hatched a plan here to mount the subwoofer. We're going to try for up in the corner there. Hopefully that works. And we need to cut a couple pieces of wood for that. Okay, there's the cross piece. And plywood, we'll have to measure that here in a few moments. Oh, I'm going to need a measurement on that too, aren't I? Okay. Looks like we're looking at about 7, so that'll be about 10 inches. 10 and a quarter, or 10 and a half to be precise, I believe. Yes. That should be close enough. Double checking. Actually, if I use the measurement on that side, that should work out about right. Got a little bit harder wood there. We'll find out if I got that right or not. Okay, ready to start mounting here. Something like so. Oh, must have a slight twist in it. How nice. And because it's a little bit heavier, doing 2 screws instead of the 1 like I did on the other ones. See if these screws will suck that warping this down or not. Hopefully. Yeah, not liking that. Well, looks like that's about as good as it's going to get. Oh well. That'll have to work. Okay, I need to be out just a little bit. I did cut them just a little bit long. That's fine. That's not a problem. Oh, I think we just ran out of juice. I'll tell you what, let's drill the remaining holes here a minute. Okay, then I need to grab a couple extra screws here to put in there. Didn't bring quite enough screws, and then we're ready to cut a piece of plywood that'll fit up here roughly. Okay, due to the size of the sub here, I went ahead and cut another 2x4. I could probably almost remove this one, but we'll leave them both up here. The size of the sub here is quite large, quite deep here. And you know, the speakers kind of have a angled back to them. The sub does not. Well, that's not going to work. And seeing how the drill battery, well, technically this battery's dead. We switched it with the drill. No pre-drilled holes. This might be a little easy, a little harder here. Okay, and then the plywood. And we'll have to make sure we measure that here in a moment. Okay, so we need roughly 22 inches or so here. Probably actually need to pull that out just a little bit. That should be good right about there. Okay. Make sure we center this best we can. Still got a bit of an overhang here. A little easier, the overhang of the plywood here with the ladder. Okay, I'm gonna have to reposition here a moment. Okay, there we go, got all the screws in. Like I said, I still have a little bit of overhang here. I don't particularly like that, but it's gonna have to do. So there we go, let's get the sub up here. Okay folks, there we go, subwoofer is up there. We just need to run the power and the cable from the stereo for it yet. It did not come with any wire at all to run it from the stereo. That shouldn't be a problem though, I've got several of those on hand. Just need probably, I'm gonna guess maybe 15-20 foot one to get up there. So yeah, we'll do that next. Okay, everyone, running what's hopefully the last of the wires here. I just need a single RCA cable here to the subwoofer, as well as the power cable. Got that laying up there. What I ended up using for an RCA cable though, I had a 25-foot component cable. So I just stripped the red end off of that, or the red wire. And we're using that for our RCA cable here. And see if we can turn this around here so we can get to it. Okay, power. Make sure it's nice and snugly in there. Back here somewhere is the end of the cable, goes up into the sub in. We're gonna set the power to auto phase. Yeah, that volume will turn it up to like 5 or so. Crossover, maybe, how about 80? Sure. It's not a digital 5.1, so we're gonna put it on Pro Logic, I guess. We'll figure out which one works best here. Drop the power cable back down behind here. The stereo does not have any power outputs on it, so not an option to plug this into the stereo anyway. Okay, let's get back to the wiring, I hope. Okay. And like I said, we'll just be dropping it down along here. I do have a power strip here, which I'll probably end up mounting up on there somehow. And it starts humming. Interesting. It's set on auto, so it should be off, right? Okay. Well, we'll just see what happens here then. Okay, got the RCA cable down to the stereo here. And we're just going to plug that into sub 1 out. Oh, and I did install the new FM antenna, by the way. Got that on there. See a much beefier antenna. I just got it laying on the table for now. We'll have to get that strung up somewhere. Okay, I think we're ready to test it out. Okay, everyone, with that, I think we'll wrap up the video here. Sound system has been installed in the pole barn. We went for a slight upgrade here, upgrading from this tough box here, single speaker, to this Pile 2,000 watt 4-speaker with subwoofer amplifier here, amplifier receiver. Seems to be actually working really well. I might have to play with the FM antenna just a little bit. Like I mentioned, I did get a new FM antenna that made a big difference. That helps a lot. Actually, can you folks see it? Sort of can see it there stringed up. Maybe I'll show that in a moment here a little bit better. But yeah, it seems to be working out pretty good. Again, the reception in this corner is a little bit iffy at times, I've noticed. It's a little bit better on that side for some reason, but decided to mount a receiver here. Maybe should have mounted it on that side, but again, everything worked out quite nicely here. Power's here. All the wiring's already ran, so we'd have to change up a lot if we wanted to redo that. And obviously don't want to do that if we don't have to. So yes, got the receiver here all set up. Bluetooth works great on it as well. And again, the tuner works pretty good. Can't complain about that. Again, depends what station you're listening to, how well it comes in. And just to give you folks a kind of a brief overview of what we put in here. Pile 2,000 watt amplifier. It's a P2002 ABTI. Pile amplifier, again, cheap. We went with cheap, folks. Like I mentioned when we first started installing this here, went out kind of looking on eBay. It's like, there's got to be some good cheap receivers out there. Good and cheap obviously did not go together on eBay. Even like 30, 40-year-old ones were like $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, and I was like, I don't think so, not for out the barn here. Speaker-wise, we went with a Pile 500 watt speakers, got 4 of those. One coming yet, so the system isn't quite done. We're waiting on one speaker. I don't know why it's taken so long for that one speaker to get here, but anyway. Then we also went with a 470 watt, 75 watt subwoofer, front firing subwoofer mounted up in the corner here, and I'll pan the camera around in a moment so you folks can see all this. And I think that's pretty much the entire system there. We ran the 12 gauge wiring to all the speakers. Again, because of the longer runs on a couple of the speakers, that's why I went with 12 gauge. Probably not necessary, but still decided to go with 12 gauge. Worked out pretty good. Got banana plugs on all the connections now. Even the receiver here, I switched this around to banana plugs as well, rather than just tightening them in the back. Just looks a little bit cleaner, I thought. And besides, I had to get them for the speakers, so it's like, well, I'll use them. The amplifier, or the subwoofer up there from the amplifier here, just an RCA cable. And again, what I did, folks, I took a 25-foot, I had a 25-foot component cable. For those who remember what component cables are, I just split the red part of it off there and used that to run to the subwoofer. Seems to work pretty good. It's set on auto, so it automatically turns on and off. I was actually looking at the amplifier here. It does not have plugs in the back, so you can't even plug something into the back of this if you wanted to turn it on and off. Not an option with that one, which is fine. There is actually an iPod dock on top of this receiver here. Unless you got a phone that's older than probably iPhone, I think the iPhone 3GS would be the last one that had that. I think they switched to the iPhone 4. They switched to the new Lightning connector, or somewhere thereabouts. So this still has the old style iPod dock in it, which is absolutely worthless. Don't know why they did that. They could have saved themselves some money and just got rid of that. Subwoofer output, it's got a dedicated subwoofer output. It's actually got two of them. We're just using one. Just one subwoofer's good enough for out in the barn here. And again, like I said, folks, out in the barn here, it's good enough, I figure. It actually sounds pretty good. These speakers, they are two-way speakers. Probably sound a lot better if they were three-way speakers. You can, I think, at least for me, and I'm not an audio, what do they call it, audiophile. So and I'm not real good with that, but I can tell. It's like, yeah, it's missing a little bit on the mid-range there, if you ask me. But it sounds okay. You can hear it nice and clear. So yeah, I'll just pan the camera around, folks, here quick a minute, and then you can see the system. Like I said, we got two speakers on the other side as well, and then two speakers on this side, and then the subwoofer's up in this corner. And it seems like the system turned out pretty good. So, folks, have any comments or questions about this, be sure to leave them below. And like I said, we'll pan the camera around quick here in a minute. Okay, so starting with the receiver here, again, just a pile receiver. Instead of going with good, we went with cheap. And then the wiring's just running out the back here. And up this diagonal post here, you can see the FM antenna going up there as well. And the speaker's wires are running all the way up to there. And then they're just going across that beam. The beam right here, that's where all the electrical is running. So I went up one higher to run the speaker wire. And then we go all the way across here. There's the subwoofer. Again, got that mounted up there on a platform. And that's just running with a single RCA cable, power cords running down right there. By the way, with the RCA cable, I did put loom on it there, so I don't know if you can quite see it, just to protect it because it's running down the 6x6 here. And you know, the workbench right there, I didn't want that getting snagged or wrecked. And then we pivot all the way around. There's one of the speakers right there. Like I said, we got 4 of those. They're 4 500-watt speakers. And when looking at speakers, I had a couple different choices. I actually found a couple of really nice speakers. Problem is, I didn't quite dare use them based on what they said the output of this was. I found a couple of nice, like 70-watt speakers. Probably actually would sound better than these do. But again, like I said, they were 70 watts. I didn't quite dare pair them with this receiver. Not that I think this receiver is 2,000 watts. I don't think that at all. More like just a marketing salesperson. We'll just call it what it is, an outright lie if you ask me. I'm just guessing anyway. So yes, that's the reason why I went with the speakers I went with. And I figured, well, you know, it's a pile receiver. We'll put some pile speakers with it, and it should be decent enough. And like I said, folks, it sounds decent enough to me. It'll work out in the barn here. That subwoofer can definitely rock this workbench. So with that, like I said, you folks have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time.